Welcome to the Great Girlfriends podcast, where we discuss life, love, laughter, and everything in between. I'm your host, Sybil, and I can't wait for you to hear all of the Great Girlfriend magic on today's show. So without further ado, grab something great to drink, grab your pen and your paper, and get ready for this week's episode. Enjoy! Let this episode be your permission slip to be curious, so that the world can open up to you. And I think that is so important because I mean, when I lived in every city I've lived in, I had heard of and been shocked of kids in New York who'd never been to see a Broadway play. Lived in Harlem, 2 to 3 subway stops away from Midtown, and had never seen a Broadway play. Kids in LA who have not seen the ocean.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Erika, how? Like, for me, I go, how? But for them, they go, that's not for me, because their conditioning has told them that that's for a certain set of people. Right? And so when people in your life discredit the possibility, it captured curiosity. You just go, oh, well.
Not for me.
Not for me. That's for the girls with the Lexuses and the Benzes who came with all the things. That's not for the girl who came wanting to aspire for more or had the ambition to go and do more, right? That's what could have happened, but God.
Right.
but Maurice.
So then you go back into that, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Absolutely.
That this is not my context. I don't know what this is.
Yeah.
I'm probably not enough for it.
Right.
Therefore, it's not my context. And you just keep going back into this, therefore it's not mine. Down
to you having someone in your life in a loving romantic relationship who is validating the blueprint, the possibility. You can sabotage.
Was a dreamer.
Yeah, okay.
Honey, who
God.
was a dreamer like that? Girl.
Throw that in the pot. And you're like, wait.
Girl, this man was a dreamer. And I was like.
And some people will say that dreaming is for rich people. They go, oh, you could afford to dream. That's what some people think.
And he didn't grow up with a lot either, but his context for schooling was much different than mine.
Yeah.
So he went to a very high-performing private high school where he saw people like that exist already. Mm-hmm. So he knew what he wanted.
Right.
He knew what was possible, what was available.
Yeah.
He was in internships when he was in high school, so he knew what was possible. The reason that I it was math engineering is because they brought this space station, space science center to the community that I lived in, and I was one of the top math students, one of the top STEM students, and so they were like, you want to go down there and start doing an internship and start helping kids, go through the little mock shuttle to the moon or whatever, right? And so I did that, and so then astronaut got on my it came into my purview because I saw it.
Yeah, that's
not
right.
because I've ever would have wanted to be an astronaut before I started doing that. And so we have to see these things, which is why it's so important for us to give our children eyesight.
Come on.
Into all kinds of options.
That's right.
All kinds of, just let them know how big the world is, because we can limit when we don't allow them that eyesight into the big world, then we begin to limit who they believe that they can be.
That's true. So, because what is that? I want to know, and this is why this is my breakfast friend. This is why this is my friend right here. This is my friend.
We jumped all over the place.
We're still in the same zone, but we have taken a number of little highways. But I'm still stuck on this freedom and what it looks like now, and even how freedom is exposure is freedom, right? And connection to the right people is freedom. It can even be deliverance. It can be a release. But I want to talk about freedom because I'm hearing recurring themes in your life where you had to decide that you were going to turn your back on one emotion, or a number of emotions, experiences, or setbacks in exchange for, you traded that mental hold or whatever that thing was, that it could have been a construct, it could have been a psychology, something that told you one thing, you exchanged it or you traded it for something more valuable so that you can sit in the space where you are today. Because I didn't even tell you who she I need to tell you who she is. I told you who she is when I tell you who she is. But you probably by now already learned who she is. An incredible creative with so much range, from Michaels to entertainment, from wallpaper.
I went to Michael's today. Thank you very much.
You see what I'm saying? Like, incredible creative, an educator, a highly educated educator, writer, speaker.
All the things.
All the things, Erika.
All the things. And
wife,
I didn't know that I could be all the things, by the way.
And mother to two wonderful children, like very well-rounded, loving, kind, connective children, like amazing. So she's got all this genius happening, and it's all, I think, the fruit of your freedom.
I will say it like this. It's the fruit of the freedom that I gave to my family that I didn't have for myself.
Wow. Very big.
I wanted them to have something that I still didn't think was for me.
Get out. But you're the matriarch of the entire experience. So how did you not?
I was still living small. I was personally still living small.
Wow. In a big world.
Big world. My world kept getting bigger, and so I kept getting smaller.
Oh, my goodness.
In that world, but I never wanted my children to feel small in their worlds.
Right.
I did not want that for them. And so just this morning, I sent a text to my daughter, and I said, take up space today. That was my text to her this morning. Take up space today. Not good morning. Take up space today. Because I want her and I want my son to know that the world does belong to you.
Yeah.
That you belong. In every space you're in, you belong there. So don't shrink.
Yeah.
But in many ways, I'm going to go back to this idea of when you have lived some sort of like traumatic or limiting child life, that you don't want that for someone else. Right. And so you're very clear about whether or not you're still experiencing that, that you don't want them to live with that burden. And so I knew very early on that I didn't want my children to live with that burden. So this goes back to the question you were asking earlier, is that once I got that blueprint, once I got all the blueprints when I was at Spelman, and Maurice and I were now a team, and here's this dreamer, and I'm a doer. I learn how to do. I'm a perfectionist. I do.
Right.
But I'm paired up with this dreamer, right? I needed him to unlock the dreaming part of me, and he did.
So beautiful.
And
felt like a line from Love Jones. I know it wasn't in Love Jones, but it just felt very Love Jonesy.
I did. Like, I needed him to unlock the dreaming part of me. And it helped me, even though I wasn't fully actualized in that, it helped me to not have to unlock it for my children because I just gave it to them freely. They don't need it unlocked. There was never a lock on it.
Yeah.
And I want them to know, I want them to walk into this world as adults knowing there was never a lock on you dreaming. So much so that, you talk about me being a creative, is that part of the reason I did not explore my creativity was because I felt like I needed to do something that was very logical, that was very structured, that was very outcomes driven and oriented, because we can measure those things. Right. And we can say that I'm good. So the only way I knew that I was good is if there was a measurable outcome at the end that said I was good. Right? And in creative spaces, you don't really always have that. Yeah. Right? You have to just believe in your own creativity. Yeah. Right? And like the expression, you trust it. You trust it.
The expression is the done. That's the KP. That's the win.
Yeah, that's the win. But it wasn't even though it was how my heart was situated, it wasn't how my brain was situated.
For you?
For me.
But for your family, your children, it was. For Maurice and for the kids.
I made sure that it was.
But you locked it for you.
Right.
How did you unlock it for yourself?
Yeah, so COVID.
That was it. What happened that made you know that was time to unlock it?
Well, the first thing is that I went home from my job about 7 years ago. I stopped working. I was still doing some consulting work part-time, but really was at home full-time. because I saw in my children that they both had really incredible gifts that needed me full time. Mm-hmm. And my husband, he agreed. That man agrees to almost everything I say. Let me just say that. And that has been a blessing because he trusts my wisdom. Mm-hmm. And everyone isn't in a partnership where your partner trusts your wisdom.
Right.
And so I am grateful, again, that I was paired with him because he unlocked things in me, but he also trusted things in me that were not in him.
Ooh, great girlfriends, dinner is getting so delicious with my favorite friend in the kitchen, HelloFresh. So HelloFresh gives you farm fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. You're skipping all those trips to the grocery store, and you can count on HelloFresh to make your home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. And that's why it's America's #1 meal kit and it's Team Moody's #1 meal kit. So it doesn't matter if you're trying to save your money or you want to eat better or you want to stress less. With HelloFresh, you're getting really delicious meals at affordable pricing. You're getting farm fresh food that is healthy for you and healthy for your family. And you're saving a lot of time because literally the meal preps take maybe 15-20 minutes, and within 30 minutes you have your entire meal done. I love that you're not looking in the fridge going, what am I going to eat? Because that bag is sitting there and it's waiting on you to just give it a try and dig into the recipes and bring your kids along or bring your family along. And you have over 45 recipes to choose from every single week. On top of that, they say breakfast is the most important meal of the day, and HelloFresh agrees with that. So they're giving all subscribers free breakfast for life. I said for life, girlfriends. I said for life. That means you'll enjoy a totally free breakfast item with every single HelloFresh delivery. And it's just so exciting because HelloFresh has made my life so much more simple. I mean, who has time to spend their entire day in the kitchen? Not me. So breakfast, lunch, and dinner at Team Moody's house, covered by HelloFresh. So I want you to be like me, save time in the kitchen, enjoy your quality time with your family while you're cooking in like under an hour, and have recipes that your children or your husband or your friends can replicate whenever they're ready. We have an entire HelloFresh cookbook in our house, and it's so cool to see how we just can grab and go with those different recipes and reuse them again, and also pick the ones that really resonate and order more. So here's what you do. Go to HelloFresh.com/girlfriendsfree and use code girlfriendsfree for free breakfast for life. One breakfast item per box while your subscription is active. That's free breakfast for life at HelloFresh.com/girlfriendsfree with code girlfriendsfree. Do not forget, when you get with HelloFresh, you are getting with America's #1 meal kit. Enjoy.
So, in many ways, we
Love Jones.
Love Jones with lots of rocks and pebbles and hurdles and obstacles. Because I don't want anybody to think that it was like, I don't want anybody to think that this has been like a cakewalk.
Like a smooth,
No, we grew up together.
You had to grow, yeah.
All these things that I'm telling you about myself, all these things that I had to work out with myself, he had to work them out with me because he saw me as a child grow into a woman. And the same for him. I had to watch all these iterations of him, and every day we had to decide whether or not we liked this new version of each other, and whether or not we were committed to that version of each other.
Just had that conversation this morning. Go ahead. With a friend.
Whenever someone asks me, what is the secret? People always say, I'm only 45. I've been married almost 23 years.
Yeah.
What is the secret to staying married that long? It's that I fell in love with and became committed to, because not just love, because girl, that love, some days I don't feel so loving.
I'm going to wake up tomorrow and see how this goes. Yeah.
But I was always committed to my husband.
Yeah.
I have always been committed to him.
People have thrown devotion out the door. You know that, Erika. Like,
I know.
And
it's a thing in the past.
That's a sticky. We need to attend to devotion. That's a piece that
there's something to
make
that.
A break.
And we have made magic because of our devotion to each other, not because we always were so in love with each other.
Yeah.
But my advice is always, you better love and be committed to the person and not the personality. Yeah. Because that personality is going to flip on you.
Absolutely.
As sure as the day is long, it's going to flip on you.
Yeah.
And so can you still be committed to this person?
Yeah.
To their soul?
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you still be committed to their soul?
Yeah.
And for us, can you still be committed to the God in your spouse?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right?
That's it.
Because that's the only thing that allowed us to go from being young 20s married to being 40s married.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only thing that allowed that to happen, because there were many opportunities for us to say, this ain't for me anymore. I'm not the same person. You're not the same person. Let's go on our different directions at this point. I got there and I don't even know what I was talking about before I got there.
Talking about, no, it's so good though, but we're talking about how did you unlock that freedom for yourself? I do want to say that because what I know for sure is that many great girlfriends listening are here in a space where they have decided that in this year, this stage, this experience, they want to unlock something fresh and different, and they don't know how. They may not have the support system.
Right.
They may not think that they're good enough.
Right.
To set themselves free, to give themselves a space to think and move the way you have, to have that COVID encounter where you said that you decided during COVID that was your shift. So how did you, and how would you recommend for another woman?
So mine was a necessary come to Jesus moment, because I recognized that my kids at that moment were 15 and 16. Mm-hmm. And I was saying that I'd come home from my job. So now I'm no longer employed, in a regular kind of situation. And so I'm like, they're 15 and 16. That means I have about 3-4 more years of them in this house. Who am I outside of them?
Yeah.
Not how do I reclaim Erika, but how do I build Erika into the person that Erika was always meant to be? Because I don't want to reclaim. There's lots of parts of Erika I don't want to reclaim. I want to leave her back where she's sitting right now. But how do I build Erika today to be all that God wants Erika to be?
Yeah.
And so it was that moment of reckoning that these children are going to leave, and then what are you going to do with yourself? And so I had to really start praying. I had to start reflecting. I had to start thinking. I was an educator. I was a teacher and in administration, both at the school level and at the district level, prior to me leaving the workforce to go home full time. And I knew I didn't want to go back into education. And so I started having this crisis of conscience. Like, well, how are my skills going to be used otherwise? Like, what other what other arena, what other industry do I, translate what I've done and what I know into?
That's good.
And that is when I remembered little Erika, who wanted to be an artist. Not drawing, not painting, because I don't do either one of those things, but to create.
Yeah.
And that started me on a journey toward what is it that I want to create. So I went through different iterations, but again, starting with what people said I did well. So one of the things I thought I wanted to do about 4 years ago was to be an interior designer. Because you are.
I'm
gonna be honest. Like, my houses be looking tight. They do. I walk into these houses and they speak to me. I'm not even. I told you we moved a lot.
Yeah.
And every house has a different flair, a different flavor to it, because the house kind of tells you what it wants to be. And so in every place we've lived, people have been like, "Oh, it's just so done so well. Can you come to my house? Can you do this? Can you do that?" And I'm like, "Well, no, that's not." And then I was like, well, maybe I can. Maybe that's what I should do, because that's what people told me I should do.
Oof, girl.
But that goes back to Erika going to Spelman, which is maybe that's what I should do because that's what people told me to do. That I'm good. This is what you told me I was good at, so maybe I should do that. But thankfully, I was able to rewrite that script of being in the spaces and doing the things that people wanted me to do, and understanding what was most important to me and what I was passionate about. And so I went on a journey. I began talking to people. I started having conversations, and that's not my normal thing to do, just like exploratory kind of conversations. But it's the same thing we have our children do, right? We have them play baseball. We have them try out track. We have them try out art. We have them try out, all these things to figure out what it is they want to do. So in many ways, Sybil, you asked a question earlier. I don't know what it was, but the thought that came to my head was, in many ways, I had to re-raise myself. I had to give myself the permission that I didn't have when I was young, I had to give 40-something Erika those permissions. So part of that permission was I get to explore. It's okay for me to explore. It's okay for me not to know what I want to do, and I'm 40 years old, and I don't know what I want to do.
Yeah.
It's okay for me to figure it out.
Yeah.
It's okay for me to tell people I don't know. And that gives them the freedom to then speak to me vulnerably, right. And from a place of, I'm just trying to figure it out too. And here's my next thing that I'm trying to figure out. So I began to understand like what people did who were in creative spaces. Some things resonated with me, some didn't. But I got to just really explore and to understand. I'm a researcher by nature. I am. So I want to go find out everything about everything.
I love that because as I think about the perfectionist wants to kind of have an insurance, a safeguard around things. So research kind of ties into.
It absolutely does. I'm going to know everything about this.
Certain.
I'm going to know everything about it.
For certain. And you do. And so that research, but the exploratory side of you, that liberated side means that you can wander upon things. You can wander and you can wander.
Yeah. So what we call it in my house is childlike wonder. And I call it out every time I see it in my husband because he has childlike wonder. Every time I see it in my children, they exhibit, and they're 18 and 19 now, because they exhibit childlike wonder. But the reason I call that out in them is so that they never forget what that looks like, and so that flame never goes out for the rest of their lives. Yeah. As I am discovering it for myself, I get to witness it in them and learn from them what that looks like. So other tool was that I got to learn from my kids.
Oh, so good.
I got to watch them participate with their world and engage with their spaces. And it taught me how to better engage with spaces because they did it from a place of not having a whole lot of fear or trepidation.
All. Yeah. You're like, they really just going to go for that. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I began to pick up cues from them of how I should behave based on how they were behaving. And the way in which their worlds got bigger just because of their curiosity. So these aren't like these magic tools that I'm talking about. These are just about these everyday habits of mine that I had to change in order to be able to step into this freedom. Because my mind is what was keeping me in bondage.
As is everyone else's who is listening and kind of grappling with the idea of how do I disrupt this and shake this up into becoming something new or different, like really giving yourself that freedom. Go ahead.
I want to say this too, is I've been talking about perfection, and perfection in and of itself is not good. Excellence is. Yeah. And some people mix up excellence with perfection. Because I still expect excellence from myself. I expect excellence from you as my friend. I expect excellence from my family. But excellence is really about mastering the capabilities that we currently have. So excellence can look different today, tomorrow, the next day. Perfection means I have to get it perfectly right now. Yeah. Right. That's a destination. Yeah. Excellence is a journey. So I expect all of us to still live in excellence. That's not going away. Right. But the motivation behind excellence and the motivation behind perfection are much different.
They're so different.
Yeah. I want to master all these gifts that I have gotten. Maurice and I read a book recently called The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks, and a large part of the book is about learning how to operate in your zone of genius, because so many of us operate in our zone of excellence. Those are the things that we are just good at. Yeah, we're just good at them because we're good at them, right? I am good at being a mom. I'm good at that. I'm good at helping them figure out what's next in their lives and curate these lives of their dreams, right? But that's not my zone of genius. Yeah, being creative is my zone of genius. So I can stay in this zone of excellence, and I can do it not only for my kids, I can do it for other kids, which is why I became a teacher. Yeah. Right?
It makes sense. Yeah, because that's a place where you were getting validated too.
I was being incredibly validated. I was moving up in the ranks. I was having, the parents call me and tell me how their kids were just, so excited about school now. When they did their end of the year test, all my kids got great marks on them, so much so they brought teachers into my classroom to see what I was doing, because my kids were doing so well and they couldn't understand why these kids who had previously not done so well, how they were doing so well now. So yeah, I was getting so much validation from that zone of excellence. I was excellent at that, but that wasn't genius. But my genius is what's going to change the world.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm
sorry, I went off on a tangent.
No,
but
I love that
that's
so much
important.
because it's different and it's unique and it's also a permissible space that I think every single person can stop and go, okay, what is my zone of genius? Am I clear on the thing that I do or thing that I am that will change the world? I might do the thing. This thing that I do is excellent, but the thing that I am is like, it really is the core of my zone of genius.
And the other last thing I'm going to say about excellence and genius is that Rick Sharma wrote a book called The 5 a.m. Club.
Yes.
And I'm going to butcher this quote, but you get the heart of it.
Okay.
Essentially is that there are so many people living at mediocrity that you have a lot of competition there. But when you get into extraordinary and excellent, there's not a lot of people over there, so it's less competition. So do you want more competition at mediocrity and you're like, fighting each other for small potatoes? Or do you want to go over to your zone of genius and live in extraordinary and in excellence where that's rare air and there's not as much competition and the world needs that from you?
Listen, that's so powerful. So true too, because I'm picking up that book we talked about the other day. I picked it up in my Headway app. And I was combing through some of it, and I was like, I actually need to have the hard copy of this book. The Cliff Notes is not going to do for me. I need to
agree.
read
I've
this.
seen the Headway version of it.
It's
real book.
It's 8 keynotes. I was like, no. I need
not
to
even in Audible. Like I needed a hard copy of this book because I needed to dog ear pages and highlight because it was so just like the thinking is so out there that it's in.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's so good. So this is obviously a 2-part episode. And Casey's like letting me know about the time. It's a 2-part episode for sure. Okay. So if you listen to part 2, go back and check out part 1 where we're talking about this freedom and how childlike exploration, childlike wonder is a permissible space that we all need to live in. And we're also, diving into disrupting perfectionism, trading perfectionism for excellence, because I think that is so valuable for each one of us to understand and evaluate the differences. And you as an educator showed up on that. Educator Erika was like, this is the difference. These are the distinguishing key points about excellence versus perfectionism that we all need to know. I want you to pull, these are your great girlfriend affirmation cards.
Okay.
These are going home with you today.
All right.
But again, I take one every day. And I go to my journal, I sit, I color, I write, I breathe with it. I just enjoy it. I embrace it. And if it challenges me, I write down why. Like, why don't I agree with this? Why is this hard for me to accept today? And sometimes when it's easy to me to accept, I'm like, this is why. So I just really spend time with it. And I'm encouraging every great girlfriend to do so. Erika, take a pull.
Okay.
See what your card says to you today.
All righty.
Oh, she went to the back. What does it say?
In the name of Jesus. It says, I am a wealth magnet.
Yes, you are, mama. Listen, all that creative power. Come on.
I am claiming this for 2024. There are things on the horizon for this year that could be life-changing for me and for my family. So I am claiming that I am a wealth magnet.
Yes, you are. We already know this. That's done and done. Erika, where can everyone keep up with you on social media?
Oh, I am on Instagram at Erika N. Cooper. That's ERIKA N as in Nicole, COOPER.
Okay, perfect. I got to have you back. We have some other things to explore. Ty, we can't thank you enough.
Thank you, Ty.
You obviously are wonderful in so many ways, but you're also a wonderful, great girlfriend for increasing our network, through our network, our connection and our friendship. And I just want to tell you how much I treasure you from the bottom of my heart. I truly, sincerely do. And I love hearing all these other facets of your story unfold. Every time I hear more, I'm like, watch out, world. Just, that's all. That's all. That's it. That's it.
I appreciate you. And this is my very first podcast I've ever been on. And you just made it like so easy and so comfortable. So thank you. Thank you for welcoming me. Thank you for getting me to say yes.
Oh, that's my friend. Happy Wednesday, great girlfriends. We hope you're enjoying yourself no matter where you are, near or far. Hope you're celebrating your day with beautiful girlfriends and enjoying the power of who you are. Be sure to check out the next episode, which is coming up on Brandy Sellers Jackson, talking about something similar in being a life doula. But also make sure you subscribe on YouTube. Make sure you check us out on Instagram. Follow us on Facebook. And if you have an episode idea, we'd love to hear from you. Welcome at thegreatgirlfriends.com. Peace. All right, great girlfriends. Did you enjoy this week's episode of the podcast? If so, would you please give us your amazing review on iTunes? Every single review helps another great girlfriend get plugged into the podcast and the community. Speaking of community, make sure you join our Facebook group at The Great Girlfriends. Follow us on Instagram at The Great Girlfriends and on Twitter at @the_greatGFS. I'm Sybil Amuti and I'm out. Peace.
Yay Networks.